Om Shanti. We were all listening to a beautiful song. Ishwar apne saath hai. God is with us. डरने की क्या बात है? There is nothing to be scared of. Once the God is with us, we can achieve anything in life. The topic for the day is determination, the key to success. A determined thought will always lead to success. We all know that part. Like we did emerge a determined thought when the sweetest Bab Dada on 31st night asked us to raise our hands, that those who are taking a pledge to become Bap Saman, not in this year, but by 18th January itself. And I was feeling very happy that today I am amongst those souls from all over the world who took a pledge in front of the God Almighty Himself that we'll all become Bap Saman within this year. Those who feel that they will definitely be able to make it, become Bap Saman in this year, could you raise your hands? This is just to revise what we did with Bap Dada. That day everybody, I believe, raised the hands. I especially used the word this year. I did not say 18 January. Those who have decided to become Bap Saman in this year, and if they have started making sincere efforts from now onwards, it is possible to become like him by 18 January. And then remain in that stage, because Baba always says we should be ever ready, and then we should sustain the stage for a long length of time. Because if we want to take the benefit of enjoying all the 21 births, which is a long time, we should also sustain our highest stage for a long time. Determination normally comes through motivation. And motivation comes through a couple of things. Firstly, motivation comes with a positive purpose if it is clear. If the purpose of our life is clear and we are focused onto it, we become determined and motivated. Also, if we have a role model to follow, that also keeps us motivated. And if we have the direct help of the role model as we have now, like Brahma Baba is our role model, the Dadis are our role models, and we have their sustenance available to us, that also makes us motivated. And also some process means techniques have to be found. Like the technique of serving through Sakash. We had a beautiful class by Brother Atam Prakash on Sakash service. So this is a beautiful technique taught to us by the sweetest Bab Dada to achieve our purpose of the world transformation. And for doing service through Sakash, we have to have a highly elevated stage, otherwise you cannot do that. So self-transformation automatically becomes a part of the world transformation if we use the technique of Sakash, service through Sakash. So we have a technique, we have role models available with us, our purpose is very clear, then naturally our motivation is on its peak. Making a pledge is another process which we can use for remaining motivated. And with all these means available to us, if we are self-motivated to the desired extent, we are naturally determined. And then success has to be seen as birthright. The best thing available to us in this Sangam Yuga is the companionship of God Himself. And as the song was saying that God is with us, so there is nothing to be scared of. The word determination, if you see in a little detailed form, it also speaks by itself that nothing can deter us, nothing can deter me from the mission for which I am working. Because I am so determined, no one can stop me, no one can deter me. We see so many examples in the history of many leaders who were determined. And they did put in consistent efforts to achieve success in their life. Even though they had to go through some failures in the initial stage, they took the failures with the spirit of steps to success. We normally hear the example of Abraham Lincoln, who fought various elections from a very small election of a small body, then to be selected as a senator, and then to be selected as a president. And you know which he achieved? He failed at all steps except he won the election of the president. Because he was determined to achieve success at some stage, and he got the highest success. He didn't get deterred with the failures which came on his way. We hear the stories of the French leader Napoleon Bonaparte, who used to say with full confidence, he was a determined person. He used to use the words because he was a worldly person. He said, impossible word is found in the dictionary of fools. That's how he used to speak, because he had a bit of body consciousness naturally. He was not a yogi soul. But he meant it. And he achieved unparalleled successes. Now those are the past stories. Let's talk of the present time. This campus of Gyan Sarovar coming up with the determined thought of Dadi Prakash Mani, who had the quality of displaying leadership of exceptional quality. All those 8 qualities of leadership which we talk, listening, availability, tolerance, flexibility, discernment, decision-making, responsibility, and team-making. I think many of you know these 8 leadership qualities which we keep talking during SML courses. Our present chief, Dadi Janki, exactly similar one. But she means success like this. She doesn't even wait. Dadi Prakash Mani's language was little more stable and peaceful. But she was highly determined. And those people who are determined, they not only achieve success, they ensure that their value system is accepted by all, including their opponents. They make them friends. They make a beautiful team. I remember the story of Gyan Sarovar coming up because I've been very lucky to be working with Dadiji in close association in building up certain projects like the Global Hospital with Brother Nirvair. We had a very hard project to pass through. But with his determined thoughts, finally success was achieved. Global Hospital was a learning step for me, and then came up the Gyan Sarovar. The Chief Minister, the head of the state, passed with great difficulty sanctioning of the global hospital, which is a big project. In Mount Abu, there are restrictions, there have been restrictions on construction from quite some time. And today, there's a law of the Supreme Court that no new constructions can come up in Mount Abu. It is banned. Not even the chief minister, head of the state, has powers to sanction any plans. And during those times when we had to make Gyan Sarovar, Baba sent his children to help us. The head of the state, as the chief minister, since he had sanctioned global hospital with great difficulty, he said no more big projects for Brahma Kumaris. And Gyan Sarovar, absolutely not to be cleared. So, we start from a point of the extreme point. You are facing a wall, and especially when you face a wall, you have nothing to lose because there's nothing which can push you behind the wall. This is how we take the challenges as opportunities in life. If you are put against the wall, a person will feel totally defeated. Oh, what can I do now? But a determined person with positive motives, with a pure purpose in life, he feels, well, this is the time to move forward because I cannot go back anymore. If you are against a wall, whatever efforts you will put, they cannot give you any loss. They can't push you back because there's nothing to go back. You have to only move forward. And that's how we started off. And with Adiji's positive thought, we went to meet the governor. The government had to be changed. There was some problem. There was a story of a mosque being broken. And so 4 governments had to be dismissed. And one of them was our government. So the man who was the head, who had put it in black and white, no more sanction of anything like Gyan Sarovar for the BKs, was dismissed by the central government for no fault of him otherwise. He was not involved at all in that mosque breaking. That happened in a different state, but 4 state governments were dismissed, and the Rajasthan government was also dismissed. And then the power came in the hand of one person. His name was Dr. Chenna Reddy. I'm just giving you the examples of how determined thoughts work and how they bring success in Brahmin life. Dr. M. Chenna Reddy's name is written outside the Harmony Hall. If you reach, there is a board. The foundation stone of Gyan Sarovar laid by Dr. M. Chenna Reddy, Governor of Rajasthan. Have you observed? There's a nice board just outside at the steps. And Chenna Reddy came and he became a very cooperative soul to the extent he did his 7 days course in 17 days, of course, because he was a very highly read person and it was extremely difficult to handle him. Conducting course was not so easy for him because he told the teacher, if you teach me anything from the books, from the scriptures, I must tell you I have read all the scriptures and I don't believe in them much. If you have to give me something new knowledge, it should be based on your experience. And our sister Usha, she was very young at that time. SML Usha we call her, because she gives lectures on self-managing leadership now. That time it was not so. SML came up a little later. So Usha was sent to conduct course for the governor of Rajasthan in the Raj Bhavan, governor's house. There's a beautiful governor house in the heart of the city. And then every day she will come back and feedback will be taken from her by Dadiji herself. What did he ask and what did he reply? Anyhow, this sort of difficult person was also won over by Baba because of the good wishes of Dadiji and a determined thought that we have to get this Gyan Sarovar sanctioned by this man. So he did the course, he became quite favorable. He went back to Jaipur. They keep coming here during summertime. And then Dadiji was chosen to be awarded an honorary degree, doctorate in literature, D.Lit. And governor was the chancellor of the university in Udaipur. So we all went there. And then Dadiji was awarded the degree, and everybody asked me, "Oh no, you must tell the governor with Dadiji. Tell Dadi to talk to the governor and tell him to sanction this Gyan Sarovar project because today he's in a good mood." So I just, slightly poked Dadi Prakashman and said, "Dadiji, tell him about the Gyan Sarovar project." And when she told him, he said, "Dadi, don't get under the influence of this young boy. And I don't want to talk anything about any projects here. I have only come to listen to your wisdom, spirituality. These administrative matters I'll sort out with this youngster. Don't worry about it. Ashok, you stay back and let me talk to her about spirituality only. Let's not talk of any projects now." That sort of regard that gentleman had developed for Dadiji, and then he sanctioned the project because he was in full power. At the time of announcing, here when he came for the foundation stone laying, normally leaders, because he was a political background person, so he stood up and said, "I sanction an amount of 5 lakh rupees for this project from the government of Rajasthan." He was a very tough person. And he was also a man of his own determinations, a strong liking and dislikings. He was very tough on his officers. When he says something, it must happen in the shortest possible time. So his secretary hauled me up and called me, "Ashok bhai, you have to give us a letter. The governor has already announced an financial aid of 5 lakh rupees for the project, so put up an application and tell us in what name should we issue the check." So I told him, normally, as per our rules, we do not take any financial aids from any of the governments. And nor from the individuals who do not practice Raj Yoga. He said, "Don't talk of these principles and all that. My job is at stake. If within 24 hours the check is not issued, I'll be dismissed from my work. Have mercy on me, sir. You must put up an application." I said, "No, I have talked to Dadiji." And when I went to Dadiji, he said, "What are you talking? How can we take this sort of things?" I said, "Dadi is the governor. He has announced." He said, "So what if he has announced?" That was his choice. He announced, and it is our choice whether we want to take money or not. And then I went to Nevar Bhai. He says, "We cannot displease this man, He's a very tough person. So we'll have to find some means out." We discussed with Dadi, and Dadi says, "Okay, I'll speak to him." And I went back to the secretary and said, "I'm so sorry, sir. Dadiji has refused to accept any financial aids." He says, "Come on, Ashok, please, for my job's sake, go and request her to do something." I said, "Yes, that we have organized. I have come to invite the governor for a cup of tea in Peace Park." How lovely, tactfully situations are resolved. And it was Dadi's determined thought to make a Gyan Sarovar project in less than 3 years. And to keep up the value system of the Brahma Kumaris, because we don't accept financial aids from the governments or persons who do not accept our philosophy. That too, personally they can donate whatever they like. Though the governor was one of the Raj Yoga practitioners, so Dadi said, "I can definitely take something if he wants to give personally, because he is Baba's child. But I cannot allow him to use government funds to be given to us. No, I don't take this sort of aids." So we went to the Peace Park, and there was a nice gathering, and I was highly alert as to let's see what is going to happen around. And then Dadi started talking to him, "Governor Bhai," because she cannot remember names. So she, "Governor Bhai, you are such a nice soul, when you come here, you really become a source of service and inspiration to many people. because governor had called the collector, the commissioner, the police superintendent and the police chief, because he knew at heart of heart today is going to be something very special discussion with Dadiji. She has refused an offer by the governor of a sanction by the Rajasthan government, financial sanction, and let's see how she manages the affairs. Let me see how the Brahma Kumaris manage their financial affairs. So he had hauled up the high-ranking officials, the district level we call it collector and SP, and at the commissionary level we call it the commissioner, and then the secretary of the governor himself. They were all sitting together. You know, so many souls are served when you come. It's a beautiful time to have interaction with you and your officers. And when she said, it's a beautiful time to have interaction, he says, yes, Dadi, I want to have some interaction with you today. And he was very serious looking. Dadi, yesterday I did the foundation stone laying ceremony. And I announced a sanction of 5 lakh rupees for your project, which I believe you have denied. She says, no, there's no question of denial. You see, it's a way of handling situations. With your help, we are going to get an approach road. This sort of help, we take, because the roads only government can make. But financial help, as a principle, we do not accept. Then he says, okay, then I've got some questions to ask you. Do you know how much money you are going to spend on the project which you have asked me to sign? She says, yes, I have asked my brothers and sisters, and they say more than about 10 crores. Means more than 100 million rupees. Oh, I see. So he said, listen, gentlemen, keep noting, this old lady who has never seen a college, we are going to check her knowledge. And she knows more than 100 million rupees is required to make this project through. Okay, Dadi, next question. I have checked your bank accounts. I am the governor. The in charge of intelligence reports to me every evening, and he tells me whatever I want to gather. And today I asked him to check, and he found the information. You hardly have 3 million rupees in your account. And you have refused 500,000 from me. It's not from you, from your government. That he made it very clear. Oh, I see. Okay, from my government. And then, how will you manage? You must have at least 10% of the amount if you want to start a project. Okay, what else? Any other question? How are you going to raise the funds? You have no funds, how will you start the project? How much time do you want to make it project come through? Yes, we have discussed, brother, and I've decided we will take about 2.5 years to make this project through. 2.5 years? You're going to make this huge project, which I have signed, which the government of Rajasthan will take about 10 years to make. You will do it in 2.5 years? Yes, my brothers sisters have got a lot of zeal and enthusiasm, and they are highly motivated. So we have decided we'll make it in 2.5 years' time. He says, gentlemen, note down, she knows the time, she has fixed the limit, she knows the total cost of the project, and she has no money. Now let's see what does she do. And she doesn't want any aid from us. Then, Dadi, how are you going to do all this? He says, will you keep asking questions as a governor, or you will behave like my brother also? No, Dadi, I am not only the governor, I am like your son, don't worry. You can ask, you can tell anything what you like. And then she says, sure. Yes, Dadi, I am your student. You are my teacher also. And also you are my mother. You can talk anything what you like. You will not feel offended. No, I never feel offended from my mom. And then Dadi says, just by doing that little, puja of this land, putting 2 bricks and some cement inside it, which was provided by us, you did not bring it from your home. You think you have won, Dadiji? That whatever you will say, Dadi has to do? No, I am not bound. I have no right on you. Your life is your life. Then listen, I am not going to do anything during next 3 months. He says, okay, what will you do in 3 months? In 3 months, I have talked to my people, and we have made a proposal. Each one, each day, each one, each day, each rupee, kam se kam. Hindi, English mixed. that every one of our students will donate 1 rupee extra for Gyan Sarovar project every day, at least. Kam se kam is at least. So he heard it. He says, gentlemen, see, she has a plan to raise money. Now let's see how much is she going to get. Daddy, do you know how much you are going to need to spend every day with 2.5 years' time and 100 million rupees? He says, yes, I think about 1.5 lakh rupees. They have told me. I see. How many students have you got? I have got about 3 lakh students, 0.3 million students. Do you think everybody will donate every day in your donation box? No. I know some people are very poor. There are some kids who cannot donate. I expect about 60% people to donate. Gentlemen, note down, she has 0.3 million students and she expects 60 million, 60%, very, very moderate, estimate. There will be definitely more than 60%. How much that makes her? 1,60,000 rupees. Is it more than 1,50,000? Yes, sir, 10,000 rupees extra. But she doesn't have it. Let's see what she answers. Dadi, you don't have anything. You have only 3 million rupees. She says, that is why I have told you I am not going to do next 3 months. Because during first 30 days, people will start donating. After 1 month, the teacher will send that money to me. It will take about a month to receive all the collections from the various centers. And then I will see whether I have got more than 45 lakh rupees at the rate of 1.5 lakh in 30 days. And he says, that will happen in 2 months. Why the third month? I want to ensure the third month that the money in the pipeline is flowing. There should be a repetition. Then only I'll believe that the flow will continue. Gentlemen, note down. This old lady who has never seen a college, she is giving us a process. She has got a means to generate funds. She is going to ensure that the first donation of 1 month is available to her. She is also going to ensure that the money is repeated next year to be doubly sure that the money is flowing in the pipeline. Or tumne kaha na bhai, you have told me, brother, that I should not start till I have 10% of the money. How much money will I have with your accounts now? And that is, you tell. No, I am not very poor in accounting, You have to ask one of your officers. Dadi was observing everything. She was teaching not only the governor, not only us, she was also teaching the officers. And then said, yes, collector, what do you think? How much money will be available in 3 months' time from now? Sir, 45 lakhs, and 35 lakhs, that makes 1 crore 25 lakh rupees. Kitna hua bhai? How much is it? He says 1.25 crores. That means 12.5 millions. 10% ho gaya? Is it 10% what you have said? So she put the whole responsibility on the governor. Because you have said I should have 10% money, so I had to delay for 3 months' time. So it was such a beautiful thing happening. Oh, I see. And then the governor realized her wisdom. And then he says, Dadi, now I want to say something as a student. Yes, bolo, bhai, bolo. And he says, I as a student of the Brahma Kumars, when you are determined and to stick to your principles, you have your projects very clear, how you achieve success and how you make a team. The governor comes around and says, I as a student, can I contribute 1 rupee per head per day? But I cannot come to your class every day, to put in donation box, I get a fleet of vehicles going with me when I go for attending a class. That will be very costly. Just to pay 1 rupee, I spend thousands of rupees of my diesel values and expenditure. So he says, what will you do, brother? I would like to send 30 rupees per month to your headquarters. She says, how did you calculate 30 rupees? And then he says, each day, each rupee, each person. So I am one of the persons. And she says, I think you have not heard me full. Lastly, I used the word kam se kam, at least. And then he started realizing I could make out what's going to happen now. I told the people, come on, tea ready. Tea and samosa, jaldi jaldi lao. He says, what is your salary, brother? And then he suddenly realized, ठीक है दादी, I'll do my best. And then tea and samosas were served. And that so-called very sensible, powerful, noble, wise governor goes home to his Raj Bhavan, and in 10 minutes his ADC arrives in Panda Bhavan. We reached Panda Bhavan, he reached Raj Bhavan, and within 10 minutes the ADC comes, I want to meet Dadi Prakash Mani ji. So I said, yes, what's so urgent about it? His Excellency, the governor has sent me, and he has asked me to talk to only Dadi Prakash Mani on a very private issue. So, okay. So we talked to Dadi that ADC has come. She says, bulao, bulao, bache ko bulao. So then the ADC walks in, a young army officer, is his ADC. He says, Dadi ji, namaskar. I have been sent by the governor. He has given me this packet. It contains the 1 month's salary of the governor, because today is the salary day. So I have brought, this is his first donation, as your student. He said it. And then you hear that. So you see, when you have a very clear purpose in your mind, and you're determined to keep your principles, not compromise with it, success flows in many, many ways. And you ensure that even very high-headed or the heads of the states, whatever we may like to call it, people also join you in your value system. You don't need to compromise with your principles, and you always achieve success in your missions. And after 2.5 years, Gyan Sarovar was ready. The governor was invited. Then he had moved out of Rajasthan. He had gone to South India as a governor of a different state, but he came all the way to have a look at the project, and he had tears of joy in his eyes. He was made to stay in Dadi cottage, because that was the last building made, and then he attended the ceremonies, and he was so happy that the Brahma Kumaris can do magic, because he saw it as, it was just a junk of sheet rocks, black, horrible looking sheet rocks, when the foundation was raised. And when you see it now, as you all see it, it's a model of heaven. So the heavens can emerge with the determined thoughts of one person. And when Baba is with us, then more magics happen. This was a well-planned, well-done project and all that type. Now I talk about the Diamond Jubilee Hall. You all seen Diamond Jubilee Hall, where we meet Baba? How much time it took to make it? Anybody knows? How much? 1 year? 6 months. Anybody else want to say anything? It took 8 months. On 1st May 1996, during the Diamond Jubilee year, the foundation stone was laid. I had called many, after the building was ready, called many Air India engineers and asked them, because it looks like an aircraft, huge hangar. And they said at least 2 years. With all our resources, we can make such a huge hangar in not less than 2 years. And when Diamond Jubilee Hall started, after 4 months, May, June, July, August, September, and after 5 months, it was done only 33% in 5 months. 33% means only the walls were raised, and then we had to put that sort of semicircular steel structures every, say, about 40-50 feet. So we had done 6 of them, 18 of them were required. 5 months had passed. It's extremely difficult to make that structure in the air. You have to make it in 3 parts, lift it, and then join it up with certain welding procedures. And in that, after the 1/3 construction, we had some obstacle, and the chief engineer came to Dadiji. Dadi, it is impossible to make this structure in 8 months' time, as you have allotted us. Because in 5 months' time, we have done it 33%. And we have also an obstacle. it is not properly getting meshed. Two parallel, those structures are to be made, and it was getting a bit difficult. And a meeting was held up. The chief engineer said, Dadiji, we have to revise the date. We need more than a year to do it, which anybody else also would have said. And what a determined person, how he speaks. It was not Napoleon Bonaparte who had to say that impossible word is found in the dictionary of fools. She spoke very sweetly. After all, she is Dadi. She spoke very sweetly, softly to that engineer. Listen, brother Sharad, this date of 31st December has not been fixed by Dadi or by any human being. That Dadi can revise it. And then he looked up, and who has fixed it? Bab Dada has fixed up the date of inauguration. If God fixes a date, who are we to deny it? We are just human beings. He said, but Dadi, I have told you it is impossible. With all the resources available, it is impossible to do it. No, you can't talk like that. We cannot disobey the God, We have to follow his instructions. We have no choice. Then she was becoming firm in her words. And this guy looks at me. How is she talking? I said, listen, young man, you have to hear her. We have no choice. If she has told there is no choice, you can take, it is almost like Napoleon Bonaparte. Impossible word is found in the dictionary of fools. Let's not become fools, okay? If she wants to make it possible, she is the wisest lady on this earth. And if God desires, who are we to obstruct? He says, but Ashok, you are an engineer. You must understand. I said, I understand as an engineer also, and I know Dadi also. Let's listen to her. Then he said, Dadi, ye puchta hai, kaise hoga? How can we do it, Dadi? You must tell us, guide us. And then Dadi, she was in silence for a minute, and she's, okay, Sharad bhai, how many hours are you working every day? He says, 10 hours at least. We start at 8 o'clock in the morning and we finish at 6 in the evening. How many hours are there in a day? He says, 24 hours. So if we plan to work 24 hours, you want this period of 3 months to be extended into 8 months. How much time will it become? 3 into 3, 3 shifts, 9 months. You want only 8 months, Dadi will give you 9 months. Means you have to work 24 hours from now. This is called determination, And then he looks at me. I said, shh, just listen to her. Now you'll ask me, how can we work 24 hours? You need 3 times manpower? Yes, Dadi. 3 times manpower, 3 times money, 3 times resources, 3 times everything. Yes. You will get 3 times everything. Money is also Dadi's problem. Manpower is also Dadi's problem, okay? Give me a week's time, and you will have 3 times manpower working here. And give me in a week's time the list of what all items you need to purchase. They'll be provided to you. And also plan to make not just one team who's doing construction of your roof. You have to make different teams. Not simply multiplying the work to 3 times, but also make a variety of teams. A team who is working on the roof, putting those structures, a team who is covering up the sheets, a team who is doing the flooring on the ground, a team who is working on the stage, and a team who is going to fit audio visuals. And this chief engineer is like this. Don't know how Dadi is speaking. She is super chief engineer like. You have to make 4 teams. The 4 teams must work concurrently. There should be teams on stage, on audio visuals, on flooring, on roofing. Everything should go on side by side. Clear to you? Now we have got 7 days to plan. All right? And then he looks at me. Is she a Dadi only? She's like a super class supreme engineer. I said, supreme engineer is above. And she has taken his word as a granted word. She is determined to fulfill the desire of God. And no one can deter. No obstacles come in the way. When God is with us, our determination is utmost. Our motivation has to be at the top level. Now you first think of yourself that you are self-motivated? If you get all these resources, he says, what? I can move heavens. If I get 3 times the people, 3 times money, 4 teams, such a large variety of skilled people, then where is the problem? I can bring down the heavens on this earth. I said, that's what the God does. And you are an instrument for that. Please go ahead and plan it well. By Christmas, the hall work was ready. By Christmas, everything was done. And the inauguration was held on the 31st December. This is how success comes for those people who are determined to follow the Almighty's desires. With Babdada himself with us, we can always do miracles. Miracles do happen. They are not really miracles, they are actually planned efforts with all the spiritual strength behind it. Like when I was introducing Dadi Janki on her 93rd birthday, I just mentioned about Istanbul. The Dadi also referred in her class when she said, thanks for reminding me of Istanbul. Many such stories happen. Dadi Janki was there. We had an NGO's team, a government function going on, NGO's functions going on, and the wise person's functions also going on. Simultaneously, 3 programs were going on in Istanbul in 1996. Myself and Brother Sharad, the chief engineer of the Diamond Jubilee Hall. He was also the chief engineer here for Gyan Sarovar project. We were asked to go and make some presentations on the Gyan Sarovar project at the Technical University in Istanbul as a part of the UN Golden Jubilee celebrations. And Dadi Janki was there for 8 days continuously. I just happened to ask her, Dadi, what sort of effort are you making these days? Please guide us. And she said, these days I am putting an effort that I will only work at thought level. And I would like to see things emerging by themselves. In Hindi bhasha we use it, sankalp sakar hota hai. I only create those elevated thoughts and then it has to take a practical shape. I said, can you give me some thought which is going to take practical shape? It's a very private thing, but I will tell you quietly and don't talk to anybody else. And then she said, first time Dadi Janki is in a town for 8 days. Outside London or Madhuban, I have never spent 8 days anywhere on this earth. And my subtle thought is that within 8 days, a center must come up here in Istanbul. To be very frank, Istanbul was a place with totally different culture, language. None of us knew the language, except one young sister was there from Germany who knew a bit of that language. And she was also very timid type and totally tied up by her parents' desires, who had said, we are not going to let you settle down at any center of the Brahma Kumaris anywhere, because they had those difficult rules of Asian culture. We'll go to Baba and then see how Dadi's thoughts come into real form.
सतयुग में तुमको आना है, शिव पिता को अब याद करो। ये संगम का स्वर्णिम युग कलयुग का अंत अब आया है, विकराल विनाश खड़ा आगे।
अब हम सबका शिव पिता ने बतलाया है।
शिव पिता को अब याद करो। पांडव शिव शक्ति सेना की रणभेरी अब फिर बजती है।
शिव बाबा के ज्ञान से फिर माया को मार भगाना है।
शिव पिता को अब याद करो, सतयुग में तुमको आना है। शिव पिता को अब याद करो, मुक्ति धाम तुम्हें जाना है। अपने सुकर्मों के बल पर ही सतयुग में अब तुम्हें आना है।
धाम में तुम्हें
सतयुग में अब तुम्हें आना है।
धाम में तुम्हें गाना है।
So we were talking about the determined thought of Dadi Janki. She just shared, and then we started seeing how the determined thoughts take practical shape, what we call as success. Determination is a thought, and success is the practical form of it. We were having a hired hotel in which the sister used to live. We had another hired accommodation which brothers were living. We had another hotel given by the United Nations where Dadiji was living. So we were staying on 3 different places and used to meet only in the morning class and then again distribute for our different tasks. And the morning class will be conducted by Dadi Janki. She will speak in Hindi, Janti Ben will translate in English, and then an old mother who was a contact of the BKs had requested a guest to come to listen to Dadi's classes, not primarily to listen, but to come and help as a translator. So he used to come with his wife. They used to listen to Dadi's class and he used to translate. He was a senior Air Force officer, a pilot by profession. And that pilot, I think Umar was his name. And he will translate Jayanti Ben's English version of Dadi Janki's class into his language so that other friends who were available, they could hear. So there were 2 families. So the other 3 people, they will listen in Turkish language. After the first day's class, Dadi said, we should give some gift to this brother Ashok. Have you got something to give a gift to him? I said, Dadi, I didn't know that there's going to come. I only have a book on the Avakt Murlis. Oh, that's the best gift we can think of. Where is your book? So I said, here it is. And she said, call that brother. And Dadi gifted him a book of Avakt Murlis. Now he's a guest who has come as a translator. He has no knowledge of what is the soul, supreme, whatever. And he's given a book, Avakt Murlis, in English. He goes home, comes back next day, and then Dadi asked him, could you read that book? Yes, Dadi, I've read the whole book. So he says, Kya samjha? Kya samjha tum? And then he says, I have understood from this book that these are not the versions of a human being. It's like a Paigambar, The Paigambar, the messenger of the God comes, and the God is speaking through a messenger. I could gather that impression very clearly. See how things go deep into the intellect of a person when a determined thought is working. And then second day onwards, when he used to translate, we used to observe at times he used to translate before Jayanti could totally translate in English. He used to do some fuss in the ears of his friends, and then when Jayanti translates, Sister Jayanti was the translator from Hindi to English, and then his face will shine and he will again give the detailed translation. So we could make out that he started catching vibrations. I asked him, what do you do? Before Sister Jayanti translates, you do something whispering in the ears of your people? He says, yes, I feel I have directly caught what Dadi Janki has said, though I don't know a word of Hindi. This is how the powerful determined thoughts work. We may call it Sakash Seva or whatever, you may like to use the words for it. Because Dadi Janki always speaks from the stage. She just doesn't read. That is her specialty, we all know it. So that stage means those vibrations, they penetrate into the intellect of a new person. 7th day passed, 8th day morning, Dadi said, okay, Amar Bhai, thank you very much for your translation, and I am leaving. Today is my last day, tomorrow I'll go. He says, Dadi, how can you go? How can you leave us like this? He says, what do you mean? 7 days has been a wonderful experience of my life. I definitely need this sustenance forever. And not only me, my fellow friends also need it. And I can tell you, my countrymen also need it. He says, but you know, brother, to make a permanent place, we have a rule. My chief, Dadi Prakash Mani, who lives in India, she can only give a sanction for a center. How can we do it in 24 hours? He said, Dadi, if you have the consent, then the rest is my problem. We need a house, we need some teachers, and we need at least some furnishing like a center and the sanction. Everything, how can we do in 24 hours? He said, Dadi, everything is possible in 24 hours. 24 hours is a long time. Dadi, good old days of communication are gone. When I have to fix up a trunk call and talk to her or write a letter. Dadi, these days we do emails. Tell me the email of your headquarters. I will write a letter. And the sanction will come through email. He said, how about the building? That I have already arranged before coming. He had hired the same complex which we were there living in. He said, I have hired it for a few months. You don't have to worry about it. Money is no problem. He said, how about furnishing something? Yes, we go shopping today evening. We'll go and do purchases, whatever you want. I need something for my classroom. Yes, yes, we will get. We should also have some gift for headquarters. Yes, that also we'll have. Everything, was happening like a magic. By evening, the sanctions had already come from headquarters. That was only namesake, no sanctions are really needed. Dadi Janki just wanted to see the determination of the soul. And everything was purchased. Gift for Madhaban as well as a beautiful for classroom, you need something to lay down. And candles were purchased. So candle lighting was done. And on the completion of the 8th day, this center was in existence. That timid little girl, she came out with the news, I have talked to my dad last night, and I have told him, whatever you may say, I am going to stay here in this center, in the European part of Istanbul. And she said, my father has agreed also. I was not expecting. Then a German sister said, I will accompany her and we will both stay here. And Dadi told me on the day, I said, Dadi, how are teachers? Wait. Tomorrow we will see. My thought doesn't change. So the determined thought of a Dadi can do miracles like this. And many more miracles have happened as was being mentioned by Dadiji. And now, on 31st December, this New Year Eve, we all have taken a determined thought of becoming Bap Saman. Are you all with me? Sure? If so many of us from, yes, I see hands coming up, with so many of us from so many countries, only few are here, we were 15,000 that day. If they have a determined thought to become Bapsaman, that means if so many Bapsaman souls are there, and there are so many who are seeing that on the TV, and they must have been raising hands in their centers. That's how these things, these days it happens. With the live telecast of the Abdada's Murli, whatever Babdada asks questions, there are students sitting in the class and they also raise hands. Yes, yes, we also take a pledge. With so many souls, and that to divine souls, taking a determined thought to become Bapsaman, the purpose of self-transformation is automatically achieved. And with our self-transformation, the world transformation is so closely linked. If so many souls, we are already about 900,000 now. Baba was inspiring to work for more now. But we are already, the minimum strength needed of 900,000 is already available. With so many of us taking the determined thought of becoming Bapsaman, the golden age has to come. And it must be seen as like it is coming tomorrow itself. We all know time is closing in. But time is our creation. So if we if we are closing in to achieve our highest stage, time has to close in. There is no choice with the time. We don't have to bother about this. How much more time will it take for the transformation of the world? That key is also in our hand. To make it happen at the earliest, it is our effort, and our effort is dependent on our determined thought. So with these good wishes, that may you all be the keys to achieve success of establishment of golden age. In the shortest possible time. Let's start the thought that from 18 January onwards, we start living as if we are living in golden age. And then let the necessary transformation process, or what we call as destruction, or whatever words we use it, let that also happen side by side. We'll be detached observers to that transformation process. Because when we become Bapsaman, our main role is doing service through Sakash. And if through Sakash we are serving all the souls on this earth, we are serving all the 5 elements, then we will naturally remain detached. Let the process of transformation, physical transformation of the world take place. Once we have determined to transform ourselves, the golden age has to come. As far as we are concerned, from 18 January onwards, for us the golden age will be in actual existence. Thank you. Om Shanti.